And you get Iansan and CHEVREUSE, and you get Iansan and CHEVREUSE, and you! For your versus, of course, we already know from official information, Varesa and Xianyun gonna be on the banner. Iansan we kinda knew already. Gaming and CHEVREUSE officially announced to be on the banner, which makes it quite valuable. Varesa's weapon, Xianyun's weapon, and a bunch of new and shiny limited 4-star weapon from Natlan. So how good are they? That is the question. I'm gonna explain about each character and weapon on the banners, give my rating on how good they are, then give my overall evaluation of each banner and whether they are worth it to pull on. At the end, I also answered a few questions from my live stream chat, including whether Xianyun is a must-have for Varesa, and for a newer player, which banner should you pull on? Xianyun, first and foremost, she heals with her burst, and she works very well with Farina. This is a team-wide healing. You can see everyone in the team is currently being healed right now. And then her burst also does something else. It allows every single character to jump higher, and then they can plunge. She will also enable characters to plunge harder. Remind people, my ranking goes from bad to decent to good. And occasionally, very rarely, I will give a character an awesome rating if they are outstandingly good. Xianyun is a good minus character. She's good when it comes to her niche, but not everyone can use her niche. She works very well with plunging characters. She works decently well with Farina. Technically, you can use her in a team like this. Xianyun is very decent Veneral debuffing enemies, and she heals for Farina. In this team, I don't do plunging on Novlet, even though that's a nice meme. If you want to pull her, have in mind a plunging characters that you want to use with her. And it makes sense that she's on the banner next to Varesa, and she's having Gaming on the banner with her. Gaming, he plunges, and he does big PP damage. Varesa is a good character. Timmy, do you think Varesa has any comp limitation like Kinesis? Somewhat. Varesa is a plunging character. She has teams with Xianyun. Iansan's gonna be in all of Varesa most optimal team. So that leaves us with 2 other team members to fill. You can think of Varesa as a hyper carry that you can just plug any 2 other support in the team to play with Varesa Iansan. Either an overload team with CHEVREUSE because she's Electro and CHEVREUSE buffs a lot, or Farina Xianyun. Those are the 2 teams with highest ceilings for Varesa. The CHEVREUSE teams will perform better if you have Mahuika specifically, or High Constellation on CHEVREUSE, C6 specifically. Dendro, Varesa, don't do that. Just no. No. Wait, why? How? Why? This is an Electro character that likes to play with Dendro. Why? The nature of the aggravate and quicken and spread reaction in general is the faster number of attack we do, the more number of reaction we can proc. So that means Electro characters that does fast attack will take advantage of the Dendro and quicken and aggravate reaction more. Varesa is not a character that attacks fast. Varesa is a character that attacks slow and hard. That is why she is not taking advantage of the aggravate reaction as well as a character like Orion. Hyper Bloom is not that good either, because Varesa combat kit does not have anything that gives her scaling on top of Elemental Mastery. Playing Hyper Bloom means you have to build Elemental Mastery and forego something like attack on her or damage bonus on her. That is not very synergistic with her character kit. Gaming is decent from C0, and then throughout his constellation he's gonna gain value. Up until C5 he's a good minus character, and C6 he's a good character. He's very similar to Mahuika, using very similar team. The ceiling team for him, Vaporize with Bennett, Xianyun, and Farina, and Melt with Bennett, Xianyun, and Sidlali. If you have Mahuika, there is little argument to getting a Gaming C6 because they are providing absolutely similar thing while Mahuika is just doing it better. But if you like Gaming, you can do that. CHEVREUSE from C0 to C5 is good minus character, and CHEVREUSE C6 is a good character. She's a niche support that buffs only overload team archetype, but she buffs so much that she's good anyway. Her teams are among the best teams in the game right now. Because Bennett exists, and Bennett's a pyro character. Because Mahuika exists, Mahuika is a pyro character. Those 2 characters are working very well in a CHEVREUSE team. Spoiler alert, Varesa slightly prefer to play with CHEVREUSE rather than Xianyun. Iansan is also a character that works very well in CHEVREUSE team. because she's electro. We can talk a little bit more about Iansan if people wishes to. The gist of it is Iansan buffs attack, similar to Bennett. But how you activate her buffing is kind of the opposite of Bennett. Bennett wants you to stay in his circle, and Iansan wants you to move as much as possible. Either horizontal movement or vertical movement also counts. Iansan is inherently a more niche support than Bennett. Not everyone can activate fully her buffing, and Iansan also does not have defensive utility. What she does is negligible. Iansan is a good minus character at C0 throughout her constellation. Her value also increases. This is what Iansan C1 does. It restores 15 elemental energy for her every rotation, and her burst is extremely important to buff everyone. She is unlike Bennett in a way that she does really care about her artifact stats, because she's buffing based on her total attack, not just her base attack. So she has to build energy recharge to burst, and she has to build attack to buff more. That is why being able to restore energy from her constellation helps her build a lot less energy recharge, and she can focus on buffing more. C2 Iansan gives the main DPS straight up 30% attack. C3 does. C4 gives a little bit of quality of life regarding her buffing. C5 increase her burst, which is her buff, and C6 straight up gives the active character 25% more damage bonus. It's more like a gradient of increase throughout her whole constellation. I'm gonna say the breakpoint between good minus to good is C2, because a 30% increase to the main DPS attack is good. Summary: Varesa good, Gaming decent to good, CHEVREUSE good minus to good, Iansan good minus to good, and Varesa works really well with two of the characters on the same banner, which is Iansan and CHEVREUSE. This is a good banner, both because every character's individual value and how they can work together, these three. Xianyun good minus. Iansan is a character that can sometimes play in Xianyun team. Xianyun fills in what Iansan is not doing well, which is defensive utility. So you can play a team something like Gaming, Xianyun, Iansan, and Furina or Silale. It's not always an easy option to replace Bennett with Iansan, but because Xianyun is already providing defensive utility, we can do this. So Iansan does have somewhat of a synergy with Xianyun there. CHEVREUSE obviously not, because CHEVREUSE does not want an Anemo in her team, but Gaming is a character that synergizes quite well with Xianyun. Overall, this banner is good minus. If you only pull on the Xianyun banner, I hope you can get a C6 Gaming, otherwise Xianyun is not doing that much, unless you have Xiao or Varesa already. Only look. This is an interesting point I want to make as well, because I think maybe many people will be pulling on one of these two banners just for the 4-star, because the 4-stars are so good. Then which banner should you be pulling on, Varesa or Xianyun? It's tough to say. If you already have C6 Gaming, or you think you can get C6 Gaming from these banners, you can pull on Xianyun. But if you're looking for a more modern DPS, a natlan DPS, because there are some natlan mechanics, natlan characters are not the only thing that can solve those mechanics, but it's gonna make life just somewhat easier. Pull Varesa. Would you recommend C0 Varesa or C1 Xianyun in case of sniping one more constellation of 4-star? Varesa is a good DPS, and Xianyun C1 is more so just an exploration perk, giving her one more skill charge. It's not gonna reduce her cooldown. It's very similar to Yelan, and her skill cooldown I believe is 12 seconds. So if you use 2 skills in combat in a 20-second rotation, there will be a point where her skill goes on cooldown, because it takes 24 seconds to recharge 2 skills. And generally using 2 of her skills in combat extends the rotation quite a bit. It does help with her energy recharge situation, and it could help with energy recharge of other teammates if you use Favonius on her. In general, I see this as very low value. You can see this as an investment toward her C2, which is also really good, but you should really check with yourself whether this is something you plan to eventually go to, if you have a C1 or not. For an average person that does not really have any preference, I would lean towards C0 Varesa. So I agree with Cryo Prince Doma. Just like you have another option for DPS. Alright, let's talk about the weapons. The weapons are... This is the Varesa weapon. 674 base attack with 44 crit damage. R1, it gives 28% more attack and gives more crit damage to plunging, just plunging. Varesa's weapon is the best in-slot weapon for Varesa, and by a wide margin. It is 20 to 25% better than the other 4-star and 5-star weapons for Varesa. But for other characters in the game, if you can somehow plunge by using Xianyun of course, then this weapon can be good. on Klee plunging, Yanfei plunging, Ningguang plunging, Hazel plunging. Risley does want to do his normal and charge attack. His plunging attack is not buffed. Other than that, it's just a stat stick with some attack, some crit for any damage dealer catalyst character. It's not gonna be amazing. Big part of this weapon is to buff plunging attack. And the Xianyun's weapon is mostly only good for Xianyun. It has 741 base attack with more attack substat and increased plunging attack damage, restore some energy. All of her buffing is locked behind the burst. Her burst is healing, is buffing, and it's enabling people to jump high. Unless you play her in a team with other anemo characters, so just mostly Xiao, I think it is good to just hold for bonus on her. Xianyun's weapon is not as recommendable. Xianyun's weapon does give her energy refund, but it does not give her teammates energy, unlike Favonius. Favonius gives more particles, which gives teammates energy. In a team that she's very commonly played in, Gaming needs a shit ton of energy recharge. Generally, Gaming needs around 140 energy recharge. If you want to push the ceiling on this guy, you want to go with 130 energy recharge. You need Favonius on Xianyun in order to help Gaming with energy situation. This weapon, if you're just gonna use it on any DPS, it's gonna feel like the Zhongli weapon. Vortex Vanquisher is attack and attack substat. That's it. Xianyun weapon is attack and attack substat. That's it. Which signature is slightly better to snipe a 4-star weapon? These weapons are only good if you have the characters for it, namely Varesa and Xianyun. It's not that universal. But if you have to choose one because you want to pull for a 4-star weapon, I would recommend Varesa's weapon, because at least it is usable as a stat stick for DPS catalyst characters. At least it's better than this weapon in terms of versatility. Now on to the 4-star weapons. So these are all of the new and shiny Natlan limited weapon. How good are they? Let's start with the plunging Claymore, because I like that Claymore. Fruitful Hope. Attack substat at refinement 5, it gives 32 crit rate to plunging and 32 damage bonus to plunging, and normal and charge attack, but we care about plunging. It is gonna be equally as good as the battle pass weapon for plunging characters, so on Gaming, on Diluc. That means you don't have to purchase the battle pass, or that also means you can use the battle pass weapon on a different character, like Mahuika. Mahuika doesn't plunge, so you can give Mahuika battle pass weapon, give Diluc or Gaming the limited 4-star weapon. It's a nice weapon to have. It works from R1, but the refinement on this weapon matters a lot. Next weapon is the Catalyst weapon. Wave Riding War gives 40% HP, then 48% HP, which is equivalent to 2 HP Sands from passive at refinement 5. That's gonna be really good for Mualani Double Hydro or Novelet Double Hydro team. Mualani can make use of this better because she appreciates the energy recharge substat more than Novelet. Mualani can now burst every single rotation, and her burst contributes to her damage as well. So another weapon that wants to have refinement. In general, it's gonna be better than the craftable weapon for Mualani. The sword, which is looking like the bone over there, this thing is decent on characters that wants to do normal attack. Then normal attack does not have to be very good. They just want to do normal attack in general, because this weapon is giving additional damage to normal attacks. It's not buffing the existing normal attack, it is giving additional damage. It's similar to how Aggravate works. So Keqing, that's fine. Chlorine, that's fine. Ayaka, that's fine. But we have not seen a character that really benefit from this majorly yet over something like a craftable sword. The bow is gonna work on charge attack bow character. Chaska, it's about 10% better than the craftable bow with Chaska. It's gonna be good on other charge bow attack character like Lini, like Ganyu as well. This weapon has a special perk. The longer we charge attack on the bow, the more buff it gives. The damage dealt by charge attack increased by 12% every 0.5 seconds of aiming on the bow. This can stack up to 6 times, so a character that does not charge for a long time like Tanari will not get a lot of benefit from this. And finally, we have the Mountain Bracing Bolt, which is the POLEARM weapon. This one is interesting. It gives energy recharge substat while increasing the elemental skill damage, which is weird. We don't have a lot of characters like that yet, just Kachina, Emily, and maybe Sino. During his burst, he does some skills. But the rumor is that the next character coming, Effie, Akefi, Escafi, something, whatever her name is, the Fontaine Chef character, gonna be a character that uses a polearm and does skill damage. So potentially this could be good on her, giving 30% recharge and 48% skill damage, which is nice. But also, I want to compare this weapon to this weapon, which we got for free. 30 recharge with 40% attack. We got that for free. 48% skill damage versus 40% attack. Tomato, tomato. Other stats remain the same. Unless the DPS is scaling on HP or defense, 40% attack from passive is pretty much similar to 48% to skill damage. So what's the verdict on all of these weapons? After we already looked at all the stats, Claymore is good for plunging characters and so-so on everyone else. The mountain bracing bolt, polearm over there, questionable. It's not that good. Simply because we have the polearm event weapon that does pretty much a very similar thing. Catalyst over here, this is a good weapon if you have Molani, good minus on Neverlet, maybe Kokome, but otherwise it's very so-so. The sword, which looks like a bone, decent. And finally, the bow, if you have high refinement on it, it's gonna be good minus on Jessica, on Ganyu, on Lini. For the characters that do not do charge attack at all, for example like Fischl, like Auroron, they just want to use skill, use burst, go off field, it's nah. So the entire cast of 4-star weapons here are niche by design. You need to have the correct characters for the weapons to shine. It's not something as universal as Favonius weapons. So many people can use that. I'm gonna say if you have the characters that can use these 4-star weapons, or you just like to collect new shiny things and maybe hoping that these weapons can be used in the future, you can also try to pull on them. So because of the nicheness, it's really hard for me to evaluate this banner and give a overall evaluation. I'm just gonna say this is a somewhere between decent and good minus, depending on the kind of characters you have. The 5-star weapons are not that versatile. The 4-star weapons are definitely also not versatile. If you have many characters that can use many of these weapons, if you have an use for 3 among the 5 4-star weapons, it is a safe bet to go for this banner. If you have only 2 4-star weapons that you can make use of, it is a little bit more questionable. If you have only one single 4-star weapon that you would like to have, it's so bad. For example, say you want a plunging claymore for gaming or Diluc, I feel obligated to remind you that it is a 10% chance to get this claymore whenever you get a 4-star. You have to win 50-50 to get a on-banner 4-star. And then you have to win a 1 in 5 chance of getting this claymore. So 50% times 20%, that is 10%. You did 3 of the 5 weapons, okay. Then I would say it is a decent bet to go for it. Chat, it's not like I have not ever gone for a single Favonius because I'm so desperate for it before. Just know that it's bad, you know, okay? You know what? You want to see a representation of a 10% chance? Here we go. I am pulling for Favonius. Cut! Oh my god! Fuck! Oh! Oh no. Ah! Oh fuck. Cooked! Chat! Cooked! I guess, okay, am I... Sure, go. At least for bonus. Oh! Ah! DBS Xianyun, let's go. Do I even... Okay, there we go. I guess that's the point of this pool, I guess. That's a 10% chance of getting a Favonius. Alright, that illustrates how bad it is. You should know what you are getting into. And if you're okay with that chance, I am slightly not okay, chat. But yes, you should know what you're getting into and be prepared for the worst. Account ruined! We're moving on, chat. We're moving on. I believe we have kind of covered everything on the banner at this point. Any questions, chat, regarding the characters banner or the weapon banner? Anyway, one suggestion, should you pull for Xianyun or should you pull for Xilonen for Hu Tao? It's up to you. They are both gonna be increased for Hu Tao. Xianyun gonna be slightly better for C0 Hu Tao because she's gonna alleviate some of the stamina issue. Xilonen will be slightly better for C1 Hu Tao. But also you should consider the potential 4 stars that you can get from pulling on these banners. These are speculation on the characters on Xilonen's and Venti banner, which is gonna be Faruzan, Beidou, and Yanfei. Since Xianyun and Xilonen provide somewhat similar value for Hu Tao, make sure you want to play the plunging Hu Tao. Like, that is a eccentric thing that you have to get used to. But if you don't care and you just consider between these 2 characters, then consider the 4 stars. I see that these 4 stars are significantly better than these 4 stars. Whose constellation are more valuable if I had to compare Iansan or CHEVREUSE? Chevicon versus Iansan constellation. Now, we have no control over that because they are on the same banner and we cannot really know which constellation we will get. But having an idea of what is good is still nice. I'm gonna show some calculations on screen. These are not my calculations. These are done and very graciously shared by the smart people in Xilonen Discord server. Varesa Overload with Mahuika CHEVREUSE C6, Iansan C6 is around 100,000 damage per second. Varesa with C0 CHEVREUSE is losing about 14,000 damage per second. Is there a Iansan constellation calculation somewhere? Reminder, different people calculating have different assumptions. So the relative damage of a same team for different people calculating it may be different. So Varesa, Mahuika CHEVREUSE, Iansan with Iansan C6 is 100,000. With Iansan C5 it reduced to 95,000. With Iansan C2 to C4 92,000. And with Iansan C0 is 87,000. So from C0 to C6 Iansan it's about also 14,000 damage per second increase for the team each. But CHEVREUSE is a C6 or everything else is just equivalent to C0. Iansan is a gradual increase over her constellation from C0 to C6. I would say if you can manage to get C6 CHEVREUSE, then it's very good. But if you cannot get C6 CHEVREUSE, then Iansan constellation is a gradual increase from C0 to C6 with a total increase that is similar to C6 CHEVREUSE. Hopefully that is helpful. Is Xianyun a must pull for Varesa? No. Here I'm gonna give you team calculation again. Now Iansan will be a mainstay in Varesa's team. Iansan is a non-flexible slot. So Varesa, Iansan, you're gonna always see that everywhere. But the two remaining slots are flexible. And these are the options. Mahuika with CHEVREUSE C6 gonna give a 100k damage per second. Mahuika CHEVREUSE C0 gonna give 91,000. Pyro main character CHEVREUSE C6 gonna give 90,000. CHEVREUSE C6 with Xilonen gives 83,000. Varesa Aggravate Xianyun Kirara gonna give 71. Varesa Furina Xianyun gonna give 81. If you do not have Mahuika and if you only have CHEVREUSE C0 to C5 CHEVREUSE doesn't matter, then I expect the CHEVREUSE team to still be equal to Furina Xianyun team. Something like Varesa Pyro main character CHEVREUSE C0 Iansan whatever. It's gonna be similar to Varesa Furina Xianyun Iansan. You can also use Furina Xilonen. It's gonna be slightly worse than Furina Xianyun. As a new player, do you think Xianyun is a better pull or a player that just recently playing and do not have a lot of characters yet? If you pull on Varesa banner as a new player, you're gonna get Varesa, hopefully Iansan, hopefully CHEVREUSE, but that's kind of likely. Even just C0 of them, you already have a 3-person team. Now add in Xilonen, which is free, you have immediately a 4-person team. Or Bennett works too, or the Pyro Traveler works too. If you put on Xianyun banner, then already you have 3-person team from the Xianyun banner as well. Hopefully you get Gaming, hopefully you get Iansan. So Gaming, Xianyun, Iansan, and then you need either Furina or Citlali to make a good team for Gaming. Xingqiu works okay, Yelan works okay, Rosaria works okay. I'm gonna give more points for the Varesa banner because the remaining party member is Xilonen and Xilonen is free. But on this, it's a little bit more iffy whether you get Xingqiu or Rosaria or Yelan, Furina or Citlali for Gaming. Good stream, W stream, thank you. Thank you, chat. I appreciate you. If you would like to support the stream, chat, there are several options you can do. You can like the stream on YouTube. You can follow on Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube. Return often if you like the vibe. Also, you can consider the super chat option and YouTube membership on YouTube if you want to further support me, and I appreciate that. Until next time, you want me to pull for you? Come relatively early in tomorrow's stream, Ragul, and we can work something out. See you, chat. Have a good one.